is a veteran of the supply chain and logistics industry, and he brings with him over 2 decades of experience in supply chains. Looking at him online, you don't actually think he's that old, yeah? So, but without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Ivan to talk a bit about Trames and what they do.
Thanks, Dr. Krishna. Appreciate it. Good day, everyone. This is Ivan. Nice to meet you guys. So
So far, so
I'm
good.
excited to share over the next 10 minutes a little bit about who we are in Trames and what we do. But we are well aware that the majority of the audience in today's webinar are seasoned logisticians looking for a game change. Yeah? So you've probably lived, breathed, slept through all these issues in international freight and transportation space for some time now. So I won't be spending time to talk about the problem statement specifically, but I prefer to spend the time to discuss with all of you and possibly also learn how best to go about solving or at least mitigating some of these challenges associated with the legacy and manual processes. So introducing Trames, we would like to help corporates digitalize by uncomplicating the complicated world of international freight and transportation. Over the next couple of minutes, I'd like to focus really on what sets us apart, as well as a little bit of the how. So this is probably the key slide in my presentation today. We like to underline 4 key components which are underpinned by 4 principles that support these components. So our first and fundamental belief is that shippers will derive maximum value from having their very own freight ecosystems. Right? These need to span wide across all the actors in the international transport process in order to cover the end-to-end, but also deep within each service pillar, because we fundamentally believe that corporates don't put all their eggs into few baskets, right? Most prefer to work with several partners in parallel, right? And by putting everyone within the freight network into this ecosystem, then you break silos, you force collaboration between partners, and you can actually facilitate a whole lot more transparency than what is currently available in the market. Second pillar is that the freight industry is technologically diverse. Partners range from huge global digitally mature MNCs to the home-owned truck owners, right? Truck drivers who have very little idea on how to leverage tech to help themselves or their customers. Right, so what we believe is that a shipper-centric ecosystem must cater to everyone playing in the space, right, and can connect every single partner regardless of their technological maturity. Sorry for that. And consequent to the ability to plug in everybody in the ecosystem, it would actually facilitate a true end-to-end solution that is vendor, technology, and maturity agnostic, right? So everyone plays in the same space, right? The final pillar I'd like to talk about is pertaining to customs compliance, which I guess we all know is absolutely key in the international trade. However, this is pretty challenging, because there are varying practices across countries, inconsistent classifications between countries, and there is therefore a significant opportunity not only to ease the administrative burden of our people, but more importantly to optimize costs, right? And we need to have tools and better utilize bilateral free trade agreements that have been struck between countries. And there are 2 main factors that impede this opportunity today. The first being identification, and the second, execution. So we offer toolkits that help corporates leverage these FTAs through digital means, of course, easing extensive paperwork and behind-the-scenes administration. Honestly, in this space, right, I cannot emphasize more the significant potential productivity that can be tapped. So to showcase the 4 underlying principles, right, I'd like to move on to some demo screenshots. But after all, pictures do say 1,000 words. But before moving that, I think blockchain deserves a quick mention as well. So we are in collaboration with IMDA, and we're weaving in trade trust, where the adoption of new digital standards in international trade, right, will open up significant benefits to the participants of the network. For those who are unfamiliar, Trade Trust is a blockchain initiative by the Singapore government. It's essentially a digital utility comprising of a set of globally accepted standards as well as framework that is essentially connecting governments and businesses onto a public blockchain. This then enables trusted interoperability and therefore facilitates the exchange of electronic documents across the digital platforms. While it is somewhat still early in the game, studies are alluding to the possibility of blockchain rendering paperwork in freight movement obsolete in the near future. So we don't think that's too far away, and we think it's absolutely important, right, for everyone to start getting ready for this. So now moving on to the demo. So this is basically the home page. When a user logs in, it represents the end-to-end ecosystem that I was talking about, where all actors of the freight movement process are put together. Users, which is magically moving by itself. Users from different organizations have the individual modules within the ecosystem, that are permissioned to them. Customized workflows are baked in, and it really helps to transform what was done with emails, phones, and faxes, right? And we now orchestrate all freight booking and administration activities within one single platform. Okay. Next up is track and trace. So we essentially leverage several data sources to provide real-time location of vessels. And we push this data comprising of accurate predictions on arrival and departure vessel times back to the shipper. Right? What is key here is data objectivity. Right? Because we are using independent sources of data, we're removing the inaccuracies and providing trusted real-time on-water statuses back to our customers. And as a possible phase two, and we have demonstrated this in some of the integrations that have already taken place, when corporate ERP systems are integrated with the platform, it essentially has the potential to convey transport delay information seamlessly back at order and SKU levels, and that will really drive the improvement of reliable delivery dates back into your ERP systems. Okay. I'll skim through some of the next slides because it's really a showcase of the product. This is a summary view of the shipment where several important information can be viewed by users of the platform. You've got booking information, documentation requirements, shipping containers that are used in the shipment. We have a simple UI that enables users to have a holistic view of all our shipments, managed by them and owned by them. Pre-alerts are configured so that anywhere within the customized workflows will trigger upon missed processes or mandatory documentation. We also offer a shipment, a shared repository, right, across the shipment, and basically all users are then authorized to orchestrate and upload and edit documentations. Version controls capabilities are baked in as well, right, to provide that audit trail that's absolutely important. We offer very granular data points from shipping events, and because these are based on very granular milestones, it's actually pretty much comprehensive and detailed. So every action across the shipment journey is kind of collated together, and various data sources is then made available to the users. And on top of this plethora of data, right, we provide business analytic dashboards that are catered to both operations management as well as strategic. Right. One important application here is the ability to objectively manage partner performance, right, which then removes the reliance on logistic partners, right, and you become a lot more independent than it previously is. Okay. So with that, I thank you for your attention and your time. I'm just leaving some contact information just in case anyone is keen to get in touch with us for subsequent discussions. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ivan. Very good. Do you have any questions, Bob?
Sorry, thank you very much, Ivan, for that presentation. So for your clients, typically, what kind of challenges are they trying to solve when they come to you with some ideas to implement your technology?
I think the most basic problem statement, right, is really the view of everybody playing in the same space, right? Today, the transport industry is very fragmented. There are multiple actors within the supply chain. Essentially, right, when we first addressed this with one of our clients, it was really depicted as a black hole, right? From the time the shipment leaves their factories to the time it actually arrives in their DCs, there is an empty space that they play in, and visibility, collaboration, all these are very challenging, have been very challenging for them.
Okay, and I think we all know that supply chain visibility has been a hot topic ever since COVID-19 came to hit us. So have you seen an uptick in inquiries related to companies wanting more of that visibility?
Absolutely. So we are working, our initial focus was really on the big corporates because obviously in terms of number of shipments and the problem statement was pretty much exaggerated in this space. But surprisingly, right, we've got small and medium enterprises now also very interested to solve this problem. Yeah, so in that respect, we're building a kind of a streamlined module, right, where we want to push a SaaS platform to these SMEs.
Okay, I think perhaps related to that question is a question that's come in. Can your entire solution be adopted in stages rather than in one big bang? One big bang approach. Is that possible?
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's completely modularized, and we do understand that it's a very big problem statement to solve, and we've been pretty ambitious in this respect. But yeah, so what we've been able to do is to modularize the entire solution so that customers can onboard different segments of problem statements, all in phases, as you alluded to.
So do you find that typically customers do go stage by stage, or do they prefer the big bang approach? Or is it both?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to solve this one big problem at one single go. So a phased approach is definitely the right way to do this.
Okay, all right. A question that's come in from Christopher Lim. He's asking, what is the main differentiator between the Trames solution and your competitors?
I think essentially there are many people trying to address this problem statement. I think we first have to look at the ecosystem and look at what is the definition of a competitor. So let's start with digital freight forwarders. Yeah, so where the 3PLs have come with very highly digital capabilities, but essentially it's still to solve the problem of visibility and collaboration, but within that small pillar. Right. So what we really like to offer, right, is vendor agnostic, technology agnostic, and maturity agnostic solutions across the end-to-end. So essentially, it's plugging everybody into the same space, irrespective of all those constraints.
Okay. And for our participants out there, Ivan has a white paper that you've written and is uploaded here, so you can access that through the chat. So would you like to talk more about that white paper, Ivan?
Yeah. So the white paper is basically a quick summary, but it's a couple of pages long, so it's not such a long read. But it essentially gives a much better idea of what we've covered in the last 10 minutes. Do take a read. You know, I hope it's interesting and we all can learn something from it. But grateful if anyone wants to push any feedback or comments through us.
All right. Okay. So yeah, do have a read of that to find out more about Trames. Just a quick one on the satellite technology. I mean, I've heard about that for the last 10, 15 years. Is that becoming more available? Is that becoming more popular now, or is it still very expensive to have satellite communications?
It is expensive, but we think it's a very worthwhile investment. I mean, the problem statement today, right, is in ocean freight. It's a very long supply chain, right, and the traditional way of communicating arrival dates is through batch data. right? So that big black hole needs to be solved, and the fact that you need to have visibility of the supply chain whilst the vessel is on the water and not when it's going to be arriving at the port. So it's going to make a big difference in terms of planning processes and how corporates actually use that information to drive the planning optimization that they need.
All right, okay.